Today on Rappler, the Syntax Reform Bill passes the Congress bicameral committee, a signature away from becoming law. After 15 years, the House of Representatives decides the fate of the Reproductive Health Bill on Wednesday. And the government asked the Supreme Court to declare the cybercrime law valid. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. For the first time in 16 years, a syntax reform bill makes it out of committee meetings and gets through a vote. Only the signature of President Benigno Aquino is now needed to make the historic bill a law. Voting 10-9, the Senate ratifies the bicameral conference committee report on the bill Tuesday. The House also ratifies its version. Senator Franklin Drilon, sponsor of the Senate version, says Aquino is expected to sign the bill into law before Christmas. The bill is passed with strong opposition from critics who say it will harm tobacco farmers. Recto says he's against the lump sum earmarked for the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation. The BICAM report leaves it up to the Health Department to earmark funds for political and district subdivisions for medical assistance programs. Recto says the provision will politicize the allocation of funds. He adds, the money will be like a blank check you give to the DOH. The syntax bill raises an additional 33.96 billion pesos in revenues from tobacco and alcoholic products in 2013 or its first year of implementation. After 15 years, the House of Representatives will decide the fate of the Reproductive Health Bill on Wednesday. Anti-RH lawmakers will be allowed to continue introducing amendments, provided voting will be done by voice vote and not by nominal voting. Senior Deputy Majority Floor Leader Janet Garin says if the House approves the bill on second reading by Wednesday, they can approve it on third reading by Monday. With the backing of the Liberal Party and the Nationalist People's Coalition, the bill is likely to pass. LP President Mar Rojas calls LP members in the House to a lunch meeting Tuesday to announce the leadership's support. In a statement, the party urges its members to vote in favor of the bill. It adds, quote, the leadership of the LP stands firm not to abandon the president on the issue of the RH. This departs from LP's previous position, allowing members to vote according to their consciences. A Pulse Asia survey says the ruling Liberal Party and opposition coalition United Nationalist Alliance will dominate the senatorial race if elections were held today. The survey says Senators Francis Escudero and Lauren Legarda remain the top picks of Filipino voters. Both are guest candidates of LP and UNA. At least 74.1% of voters will vote for Escudero, while 69.3% will vote for Legarda. The 10 other slots are split between LP and UNA. In the third and fourth place is LP guest candidate and incumbent Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. Right after him in the third to sixth place is San Juan City Representative JV Ejercito Estrada of UNA. Tied in the fourth to seventh place are Cagayan Representative Jack Enrila of UNA and another LP guest candidate, former Las Piñas Representative Cynthia Villar. LP bet Senator Coco Pimentel improves his standing with voters at 50.2%, putting him at the fifth to eighth place, followed by UNA's Senator Gringo Onasan in the 7th to 12th place. Rounding up the Magic 12 and tied in the 8th to 12th place are LP Senator Antonio Trillanes IV, Nancy Binay of UNA, Aurora Province Representative Sunny Angara, and former Senator Miguel Zubiri of UNA. The number of victims of Typhoon Pablo continues to rise, with 714 now confirmed dead and at least 890 missing. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council says nearly 5.41 million people are affected across 9 regions. Damage may reach 7.12 billion pesos, but it's expected to go up. On Monday, the United Nations launches a $65 million global aid appeal to help provide food, water, and shelter for survivors. Donor countries pledge almost $22 million or 900 million pesos so far. Residents of Casiguran Aurora arrive in Manila after a 17-day march to protest the Aurora Pacific Eco Zone and Freeport Authority. In a surprise move, President Benigno Aquino meets with the farmers. Bea Cupin reports.
The Casiguran marchers start out the day on an optimistic note. The night before, They were told the president would come to the San Jose Seminary inside the Ateneo de Manila campus to listen to their plight. The marchers are asking the president to stop the Aurora Pacific Ecozone and Freeport Authority or APECO. They also want him to deny the project of funding from government.
Ang APECO po ay walang daan na matuwid, hindi po ba?
The marchers accuse APECO of land grabbing and harassment. They say the development APECO will bring is not the kind they want. But this is the answer they get.
Sa kanila, sabi niyo, tigilan ko yung budget o ibigay mo to. Hindi ako diktador eh. No? Ako bilang Pangulo, Chief Executive, ano ba yung execute ko yung batas? Kailangan ko ipatupad yung batas. Mali yung batas, mapapalitan natin yung batas. Pero habang batas yan, obligado po akong ipatupad.
The 120 farmers, fisherfolk, and agtas from Casiguran Aurora are dejected and frustrated. They marched 350 kilometers over 17 days to protest APECO.
Frustrated yung mga marchers eh. Talagang, una, hindi nila narating yung Malacanang. First time sila Manila. Pangalawa, hindi malinaw yung tugon ng ating Pangulo para sa nilakad namin na hanggang dito.
The president instead orders the National Economic and Development Authority to start an independent review of the project. The marchers are assured that they will be consulted during the review. Father Joe Talaban, Casiguran Parish priest, and lawyer Christian Mansod will also represent the marchers. An APECO representative will be part of the consultations. In a statement after the dialogue, APECO says it welcomes the review. APECO says, quote, "This is a development for the people of Aurora, supported by the people of Aurora. We appeal to certain groups with vested interests to stop spreading lies." But convener Christian Mansod cautions against ecozones, particularly APECO.
And this is a good time to check APECO whether this is just the same mold of economic zones that, by the way, have a very questionable whether it's totally benefit or not to the people.
Despite the setback, the marchers are determined to fight for the land. Bea Cupin, Rappler, Manila.
The government asked the Supreme Court Monday to uphold the constitutionality of the Cybercrime Prevention Act, even as it agrees the takedown clause violates the freedom of speech and expression enshrined in the Constitution. The takedown clause allows authorities to shut down websites with harmful content based on prima facie evidence. The government says Congress should amend the clause, but it stands by the legality of the law, saying, quote, "It's meant only to curb and fight the evil of cybercrime, nothing more and nothing less." It also asks the Supreme Court to lift the October 9 temporary restraining order on the law's implementation and to dismiss the 15 petitions against it. Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 6, U.S. President Barack Obama says on Monday he is ready to compromise, quote, "a little bit," to head off a tax and austerity crisis. But Obama warns he will not budge on making the rich pay more. He's working with House Speaker John Boehner, his top Republican foe on the fiscal cliff showdown, to strike a deal to head off $500 billion in tax hikes and savage spending cuts by January 1. At number 7, Business Week's cover story on Tim Cook gives a rare glimpse into the life and leadership style of the Apple CEO, who replaced business and technology industry icon Steve Jobs. The discussion ranges from product design to manufacturing, but it also provides some great insight for leaders about leading an organization. Business Insider crunches 5 leadership lessons. The diversity of leadership is massively important. Transparency is key. Read customer emails. You, quote, "can only do a few things great," and admit you're wrong. At number 8, the European Union, facing its worst crisis in 6 decades, officially receives the 2012 Nobel Peace Prize on Monday for turning Europe, quote, "from a continent of war to a continent of peace." With a score of EU heads of state and government looking on, the Norwegian Nobel Committee chairman hands the prize to EU President Herman Van Rompuy, European Commission President Jose Manuel Barroso, and European Parliament President Martin Schulz. And at number 9, undefeated American boxer Floyd Mayweather Jr., who's usually the first to slam Manny Pacquiao, surprisingly has comforting words for the Filipino boxer who was knocked out by Juan Manuel Marquez on December 8. He says, quote, Things happen, you live, and you learn. The only thing he, Pacquiao, can do is rejuvenate himself and bounce back like a true champion. Meantime, teen superstar Justin Bieber takes a jab at Pacquiao, publishing memes on social network Instagram, making fun of the way Pacquiao was knocked out. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Philippine sports analysts say Manny Pacquiao should retire after his defeat in Las Vegas at the hands of Mexican Juan Manuel Marquez. Pacquiao, who will turn 34 on December 17th, vows to fight. But analysts say 17 years of pro boxing have taken its toll. Sports columnist Rica Trinidad writes, Pacquiao was conquered by Father Time after it turned out he could no longer take a solid punch. Boxing analyst Ronnie Nathaniels fears receiving too many punches might condemn him to the fate of his American coach, ex-fighter Freddie Roach. He says, quote, the sight of Roach himself riddled by Parkinson's disease sends shivers among many who care deeply for Pacquiao. The 8th Division world champion's wife and mother expresses the same sentiment. But 1992 Barcelona Olympics boxing bronze medalist Roel Velasco says he shouldn't retire. He has to recover and redeem himself, then he can retire. London-based boxing news blogger Daniel Welling echoes Velasco. He writes, it would be a huge shame if one of the greatest fighters of the modern era ends his career face down on the mat. Every story on Rappler has its own mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel, and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories which have gotten the most number of votes on the mood meter. We take a look today. Last night, if you remember, it was a sad mood navigator. Tonight, 2 left that are sad. Again, from Pacquiao, analyzing Pacquiao Marquez, and from Typhoon Pablo, all Dante prays for is a body to bury. The only 2 grays in a sea of green. Story that's gotten the much traffic today. 6 rights you have as an airline passenger, 82% happy. And the story that's setting it up for tomorrow, how the Solons voted on the RH bill proposed amendments, 67% happy, all contributing to the mood of the day. Today, most people are happy. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Tuesday, December 11, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.